Drake Maye had his best start as an NFL quarterback. And the pressure that they rammed defensively to combat Tua quadrupled in the fourth quarter, which is insane playing in the 90-degree heat. So it's not just one thing or another thing. Complimentary football cliche. It all came together in those big moments. And sure, the Dolphins puked on themselves, but you know what's going to happen sometimes in the NFL? There's vomit. And so long as your opponent is there to slip up in it and you get to stand to the side and go, oh, you can win football games. And that's exactly what happened.
You really had to give us the vomit, and then you even gave me the kind of like the slip there. I don't think we needed that.
You could have saved that for our world famous segment now at the end.
It still could be. We'll see. You were pretty on your game last week. I'm hoping you rode a little bit. Maybe that whiskey there will get you. So I'll just take the macro view because I know we're going to get to them to some of the details within. Your offense was the best unit on the entire field. You were better than their defense, which was the worst unit on the field, period, and was last week as well. But in general, your offense was better than their offense. Your offense was better than your defense, better than the specials. And so I still had the feeling, even in the heat, had they given up a touchdown late, that I still had this feeling like, oh, put the ball in Drake's hands with 1 minute to go. This could be fun. Because I just felt like they played with that confidence. And even though maybe the execution eroded a little bit as we got into the fourth quarter, that I still had enough confidence in the way they were playing that they were going to be able to dial some things up. So to me, just big picture view, again, not breaking it down into little things. I just thought your offense was better. Your quarterback was better. And that's why at the end of it, you stand 1-1 as opposed to 0-2, where who knows, that coach might be fired before they play their third game.
And you know what? Like, we could go in a number of different directions here, but I think, let's say the scenario you just laid out came true, right? And Drake Maye doesn't even score, but we have this moment of the kid's all right. This probably was his best start, even though they're 0-2. That's something you hold on to as sustainable. And so the fact that they won and you go, okay, this is sustainable because the quarterback's getting better week to week, season to season. You can project on that a little bit or as much as you can in September, knowing that none of this really should be extrapolated. That is the biggest important piece. But in case you missed a fourth down sack ending this game, it was a 6-point game and the Patriots hitting a long field goal and Andy Borregales and blah, blah, blah. This is how close it was statistically. Okay. We talk about the 5 factors, broke this down last week: turnovers, explosive plays, your success rate, meaning efficiency, how you do in the red zone, finishing drives. And then I throw in defensive pressure rate. Okay. This is what we're going to do every week. Turnovers, Patriots 0, Dolphins 1. Explosive play rate, 9% for the Patriots, 9.6% for the Dolphins. Success rate, 49% for the Patriots, 47% for the Dolphins. Red zone efficiency, 3 of 4 touchdowns out of trips for the Patriots, 1 of 2 for the Dolphins. Defensive pressure rate, 38% for the Patriots, as I mentioned, quadrupled in the fourth quarter. Talk about game of inches in a league about clutch. There it was. And the Dolphins were 32.5%. So this was as even as it was. But when you have the best player, which was Drake Maye on Sunday, and the best unit, we're going to get into the details, but sometimes the macro, as you put it, is exactly what happened.
Yeah. It's interesting, though. You break down the 5 factors that we're going to basically lead off these shows with. What did you think about Mike Vrabel today talking about he was on EEI on the Greg Hill show? I'd focus on quarterback rating, turnovers, and rushing margin. That's what I thought.
There's a small part of me that thinks Mike is trolling, because he will. He'll absolutely toy with the media as well 100%. As take out the whip and let you have it and wonder if I don't know if you were in a coma kind of moments. But passer rating is something that, as I understand it, speaks better to a whole offense's operation. But let's be clear, the equation behind that, the formula, does not include sacks, does not include fumbles, okay? And really rewards guys like Alex Smith who will just pew, pew, pew their way downfield, not the guys who are going to take the shots and make that happen. So I know they are statistically, or I should say analytically inclined, okay? They're very familiar with EPA. So what he says in the Greg Hill show, nothing to do with Greg Hill in that show, I don't really care about. But it's funny because I think he's throwing a little misdirection.
It's also, as he mentioned last week when he got in, I guess, in trouble, if you will, for not taking off the table that maybe there was too much on Drake's plate. It's 6:30 in the morning. I don't know how much sleep he got. Watching tape, getting ready for the next one. Stuff might just happen. Yeah. You might just say things.
Yeah, it was funny. We should mention now, because there's always this section of folks. They might be in the comments now. They were in my mentions, yours, I'm sure, going, oh, the Dolphins suck. This team is the worst team in the league. Doesn't matter. Patriots missed 14 tackles, had 12 penalties. Clean it up. Man, you got to take your joys when you can. I get that this game was as much slop as it was surprise, and you had a tiny bit of spectacular sprinkled in there. But let me tell you something. In order to understand where you are, where the Patriots are right now is 1-1, you need to know where you came from. And in case you forgot, this was a team that had not scored 30 points in almost 3 years. This is a team that's had 4 losing seasons in 5 years, then went through Matt Patricia, went through the end of Bill Belichick, not talking to his quarterback, and then Gerard Mayo, chest stuck out, thinking he could walk into this job after 5 years in the coaching profession, steering this team into its second straight 4-13 season. When you win this game at that place where they never win, you enjoy it. The standard in September is not perfection. It's just win football games that get better. You know what the Patriots did after all that slop and all that garbage in the last 3, 4, 5 years? They got better on Sunday, and they won a damn football game. You take it and you enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think the way that I covered this team for years when it was Brady and Belichick at their height is that you would go through these games, and even when they won 17-14 or whatever, you'd be like, how come they only scored 17 points? You were always looking to pick at the things. What could be the thing that bites this team in the ass in January or February, which they were always playing in January, and very often they were playing in February. Whereas now, okay, the bar is lower. It's different. They're trying to build a program up. It's a young quarterback. It's a new coaching staff, the whole thing. So, yeah, to your point, maybe we're viewing it differently, but you do have to take your victories when they happen. And it happened on Sunday. It was an exciting game, a sloppy but exciting game. They won. They're not 0-2. They're 1-1 coming at home with Pittsburgh and Carolina next. Like, you know, for you who all had some of these crazy dreams about playoffs and double-digit wins, okay, you probably feel a little bit better about that than you did if they came back 0-2 after losing to a dreadful Dolphins team.
Okay. We have mentioned him probably 10 times already, and now it's time to spend some real time. Drake Maye had an accurate throw percentage. Okay, not throwaways, not spikes, not, whatever. 86.4%. Okay? That is better than 5 out of every 6 throws being on the money. When he was under pressure, I made a big deal out of this last week. He was 4 of 11, 4 sacks, a pick, 41 yards. Bad. This week, 4 of 5, 3 sacks, 106 yards passing, 25 yards scrambling, and a touchdown against the blitz. Even better, 6 of 7 for 83 yards, a touchdown, and a sack. We'll get into certain plays, but when I zoom out and we talk about progress week 1 to week 2, I think Josh McDaniels set an excellent table for him, right? This was it. This was the China was out. This was, just some Michelin star stuff that McDaniels set up for him. But he did everything he needed to do here. And the biggest difference from week 1 to 2 was how he handled that pressure. The Patriots put more pressure on Miami's defense than they felt themselves. That was the difference, and it all started with Maye, start to finish.
I think the plan set it up so that he could come out of it and not be as jumpy as he was in week 1. I thought there was a calmness to his game almost from the jump. I think it was pretty clear, right, that they wanted to run the ball effectively. And then what can he do off of that? I just thought, so I went over last week, and in 53 dropbacks, right? 53 dropbacks, because it was the 4 sacks, 3 runs. I had 14 what I call bad throws, inaccurate throws, which can be different than bad throws. You can complete an inaccurate throw. So some people had a hard time with that. But to clarify, no, I'm just people are like, how can you have that? It's you only threw 16.
Was these the educated readers of Boston Sports Journal that you're calling out?
You get how could he throw 16 incomplete passes? You're saying 14 of them were all on him? No. Sorry, I have to clarify for you, but just to make that point. And then I also include bad decisions. And so I had 14 in that game and 53. This I had 3, maybe 4, depending on whether Stephon Diggs was supposed to sit versus that defense or not. The ball was thrown behind him, as you remember the play I'm talking about. But so I had the leak to Hooper, which was a completion for 21 yards, 22 yards. It would have been a touchdown if he threw the ball better. Hooper had to twist. Would have, again.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
I just want you to get to the point because I think it's a good one.
I'm just saying there were very few. So Hooper, not seeing Henderson at the goal line. When he locked in on Hunter Henry, the ball got tipped. If you look at it, Trevion Henderson is right there. He ducks to the right, wide open. Would have been a walk-in touchdown from short yardage. And then stay in bounds right before It was the scramble at 2:38 of the second quarter when they're in the red zone. He thought he could get past Dobson on the edge. He thought he could go in. Dobson shoves him out of bounds. There was a little delay there. They ended up having to take a timeout with 2:03 because they came out of the huddle late. Like, I don't know if he knew the clock was running. So to me, that whole little sequence there of about 35 seconds actually allowed the Dolphins to get the ball back with 1:51. And we know what they did right before the half. They went down the field and scored a touchdown. So you dominated the first half, but you gave them a little bit of a window there to make it dicey. But otherwise, like, super efficient, super confident. The poise was off the charts. As you know, the throw to Ramondre Stevenson was just chef's kiss.
And that's the play that, to me, captures everything that we're talking about, right? You want to talk about poise. I bring up pressure, the accuracy through the roof. And again, the standard numbers are good anyway, but I don't think they even speak to how good he was in this game. 19 to 23, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. That's a passer rating. If you're into passer rating, like our good pal, Mike Vrabel, 137.3. But on this particular play, 3rd and 3, they're at their own 24-yard line. It's late third quarter. Okay, Miami had 4 straight scoring drives. You're about to punt and give them good field position. No. Demario Douglas comes in motion, right to left. He immediately, alert, everybody, tap to the helmets. That says we got man coverage. This is the play we're going to run against man coverage. And just like the Travion Henderson first down, where Hunter Henry sets this nice, if you're on offense, you call it a rub play. If you're on defense, you call it a pick play. Sets a pick rub play and frees Henderson on a wheel. This wasn't quite the same. It was kind of a delayed switch release, meaning, Stevenson gets to the outside of Kayshon Boutte, who is the X receiver on the right side, the weak side, and Boutte takes an inside release. So they kind of switch there. But that creates enough traffic for Stevenson just to go straight downfield. And as it's happening, Maye gets pressure off the right side. The only one Morgan Moses allowed. Mike Owen, who had one hurry. That was it for the offensive lineman. We'll get to them. Steps up into the pocket despite that pressure, eyes downfield, and layers a perfect throw to Ramondre Stevenson. It's poise, pre-snap recognition, and accuracy all in one. I loved it.
And that was sort of, he's teased us with moments like that before last year, and we didn't, again, there were pockets of good play in week 1, but that was just like things slowed down for him in that moment. Like, I feel the pressure. I kept his eyes downfield, which I think is critical. I think we saw at times last year where the moment he felt that pressure, the eyes came down. And yes, it was fun to watch him run around and make some plays, but like, to be healthy quarterback for 17 weeks and to be a good to elite quarterback for 17 weeks, these are the things you're going to have to do. And again, one game, but really, I was trying to compare it to some of the games last year, and like the wire-to-wire win was against Chicago. I didn't think he played very well in that game.
No.
Arizona, I thought he played well in. That probably was his best game prior to this one. And I thought this one was like a good 5 to 10% better than that one, which is, a good sign after just your second game with Josh McDaniels and this coaching staff.